Yes! A new week is upon us. Happy Tuesday. Sorry we missed Monday, but I was traveling back, which, by the way, shout out. This is Ron Placone. You are watching Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. People tweet me what they want to talk about. That's how we build the show, and we're getting our news on together. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good future. If you're in Australia or somewhere like you're in the future right now, how's the future? Is it cool? Are we okay? Are we going to make it through? Are we going to make it through? That's the big question. Which, by the way, we missed Monday because I was traveling back. So a special shout out to everybody who came out to the shows this weekend. Everybody who came out to see Graham and myself in Tempe, or excuse me, Tucson, Arizona. That was first. Tempe was the following night. Tucson on Saturday, Tempe on Sunday. Tempe, we were with the Jimmy Dore Show. And man, what a fun weekend. What a fun weekend. It was so cool to see some familiar faces, to meet some new people I had known online, some for a very long time that I got to meet in person for the first time ever. That was really cool. Man, just an amazing time. And after the show in Tucson, a bunch of people were doing karaoke after. What more can you ask for? Special thanks to everyone who came out in Tucson, Arizona, and everyone who came out to the Jimmy Dore Show in Tempe, Arizona. What a really cool. That was the first road weekend of 2020. That was like the first, hey, we're really on the road. I mean, we did the show in Santa Clarita. That's pretty much our area. You know, it just kind of drove up and back. But Tucson was the first road weekend of the year. Man, what an amazing start y'all gave us. Thank you so much, Tucson. We can't wait to see you. We'll be back next year. Absolutely. Thank you. Shout out to Mike and everybody at the O. They got a really cool new comedy spot in town, and we had an amazing time there. So thanks so much to everyone who made this weekend awesome. So someone who may not have had the greatest weekend in the world is good old Pete Buttigieg, which is what I call him now, Pete Buttigieg. Feel free to use that. Feel free to spread that. All right. Why do I call him that? Well, because this happened. Check this out. This is kind of music.
With a president this divisive, we cannot risk dividing Americans' future further. Saying that you must either be for a revolution or you must be for the status quo. Let's make room for everybody.
People didn't like that. There's a couple of his fans. I like how they're focusing on his fans, but look at everybody else.
This is our one shot. Our one chance to defeat Donald Trump. And there's an American majority that is unified not just in who we are against, but in what we are for. Because we are for higher wage.
If you can't understand what they're saying, they're chanting Wall Street Pete. I like how C-SPAN spends a lot of time focusing on his little cluster of fans instead of the majority of who was in that audience. Most people were booing. First of all, you saw a lot of Bernie signs more than anything else, and a lot of people, not even just Bernie supporters, but others as well, were booing. And they started a Wall Street Pete chant. If you couldn't hear that, that's what they were saying. That's what they're saying. They're saying Wall Street Pete.
Wages and the empowerment of workers. We are for honoring our troops by putting an end to endless.
Even his fans are kind of bailing. Look at that. Like, even his fans, some of them are like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Is it too late to us? I mean, we haven't voted quite yet. Is it too late? Maybe we can go somewhere else. I don't like that guy. Look at this guy in particular. Here, let me use the mouse. This guy right here. He's eyeing up all the other campaigns going like, yeah, maybe I should jump ship. Maybe I made the wrong call here. I don't know. I think is that the Bernie camp over there? I think I might go over there. I don't really like what this guy's saying. Here we go. Good job, Pete Buttigieg. Way to go. So that's what happened to Pete Buttigieg over the weekend, which, you know, I first saw this Saturday night right after our show in Tucson, Arizona, which that was kind of a fun thing, having a really fun show and then going back and seeing that. And as a result of this, Pete Buttigieg, or excuse me, I'm sorry, I got to get better. Pete Boot off stage, his campaign, not a big fan of a free and open press. They're really not fans of that. Here's a couple things that happen. First, we're going to start with Jordan Chariton and Status Quo. That's Jordan Chariton's company. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Status Quo. Status Quo. They're on the ground in New Hampshire right now, as is the Convo Couch, which is Craig Posher Dardula and Fiorella Isabel and Johnny Tsunami on the ones and twos. But so let's start with Status Quo. Fox News actually published this piece. Check this out. Progressive journalists say they were harassed by boot off stage campaign staff at rally. We've never dealt with this even at Trump events. That's what Jordan and company are saying. A pair of progressive journalists alleged that they were repeatedly harassed by staffers for the boot off stage campaign at an event in New Hampshire, including an attempt to physically take away their pre-approved press credentials. Status Quo co-founder and reporter Jordan Chariton and video journalist Jamal Jones attended the campaign on Sunday night in Nashua, New Hampshire. All right, so ahead of the event, Chariton and Jones were interviewing attendees in the line outside. Chariton noticed they were being followed by boot off stage field staffer Julia Filder, who went on to eavesdrop on the interviews, which went on for roughly half an hour. Chariton told Filder, "You know, you're not being subtle," to which she responded, "I know." Live tweeting the alleged harassment as it was happening, Chariton shared a clip showing Filder walking alongside the journalist while he was interviewing an attendee. Filder did not respond to Fox News' request for comment. Okay. So Chariton is a Bernie Sanders supporter, said that he and Jones entered Elm Street Middle School, the venue for the rally, picked up their press credentials at check-in, and waited with other members of the media until the campaign allowed them to enter the gymnasium. Moments later, after interviewing more attendees, they were approached by another boot off stage staffer and were asked if they had press credentials or if they snuck in. So clearly they're monitoring us here, and it's crazy, said Chariton. Things escalated when Jones went to grab his camera gear, was approached by a different campaign staffer who snatched his press credentials that was clipped to his jacket and told him, "I'm sorry, I don't think you're supposed to have press credentials." "I felt like I was singled out," Jones told Fox News. "I'm not sure whether it was because of the company I work for or the color of my skin." Jones is black. Jordan Chariton's not. The boot off stage campaign went after Jones. Can't help but notice that. And Jones is saying, "I'm not sure whether it was because of the company I work for or the color of my skin, but I was definitely singled out because they didn't do that to anyone else there that I saw." Wow. So there you go. So there's the boot off stage campaign trying to kind of get people out of the way. And here's something else that happened. So Jordan Chariton, by the way, still dealing with this. Here's something that happened this morning over on Twitter that I noticed. So some people are trying to say that they didn't actually have press credentials. So here's what happened. And yet they acknowledge they used someone else's invitation to gain access. There is more to this story. Journalists are not above security measures, and racism is real and hurtful and not to be taken lightly in action or accusation. Jordan responds, "If your definition of security is political campaigns following and hovering over journalists as they do their jobs and physically laying their hands on them without warning, you should Google the precursors to fascism." So they're trying to say, this Susie person, they're trying to say, well, you didn't actually have press credentials. That's not what happened here. And by the way, Jordan says, "We didn't use someone else's invitation. Pete Boot off stage camp removed Status Quo from its press email list in response to a factual story we did. A journalist forwarded me emails we weren't getting, and we applied for credentials and were approved." So in every step of the way, just so you know, every step of the way, Status Quo had legitimate press credentials. They weren't using anyone else's press credentials. They weren't faking press credentials. They had press credentials the whole step of the way. The boot off stage campaign actively tried to stop them from getting them, going as far as to physically remove a credential from Jones's body. They physically removed a credential from him. And it happened to him. It did not happen to Jordan or anyone else. Wow. So that's the boot off stage campaign. Now, here's something else that the boot off stage campaign did recently. Now, full disclaimer, I do know all of these people personally. I do know Jones and Jordan and Status Quo. I do know the Convo Couch. I know the Convo Couch in particularly well because I used to be roommates with Pasta, and I am very friendly with everybody that works for that show because I know them. We live in the same neighborhood. We met a couple years ago, but this happened to Pasta. Now, I'll say this too, man. Pasta, Craig Pasta Dardula with the Convo Couch. I've known him for a couple years. In the couple years I've known him, I've seen him get mad, I think twice. Like, I was actually thinking about it this morning. I've seen him get mad like maybe 2 times. He does not get mad often. He gets impassioned a lot. Like he's very passionate about, like issues and stuff like that. He's a very passionate journalist and what have you. But as far as getting mad, I think I've seen that like 1 time, maybe twice. And he's the type of dude, because it's so infrequent, when he gets mad, it's kind of scary because you're like, whoa, this dude never really gets mad. Wow. And it's also because of that, it's a little funny, like a little funny, and I say that because what I'm about to show you is totally not funny. It's actually an assault on press freedom. Totally. But I might laugh at some point. Just so you know, I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing because I know this dude and he never gets mad. And you're thinking, Ron, this isn't really, yeah, it's totally not funny. I get that. But we've all had that friend. You've had that friend where it's like they never get mad. So when they do, it's a weird mix of like scary and slightly funny because you're like, they never get mad. It's kind of because like when people that never really get mad, it's so out of character that it's almost like you feel like they're figuring out how to do it as they go. Like they're like, I don't know how to do this. I'm mad. I don't know how this is supposed to go down. And it's mildly funny. You know what I mean? It's like some of it you're like, it's kind of funny. So this clip might be a little funny. We're going to check this out. So check this out. So this happened to Pasta. Let me go ahead and get this up here for us. And then I'll switch the screen over and show it to y'all. So check this out. This happened to Pasta recently, and he filmed this. Here, let's... You
mind taking a step over? That's the way I can go. Right here.
So Pasta's standing in the press line. He wants to ask a question to Pete Booth off stage. Here's what he says. I'm at a rally in New Hampshire. I patiently waited to ask Booth off stage if he would pardon Julian Assange. And what Pasta says, he was wearing a Tulsi Gabbard t-shirt. So the Booth off stage campaign signaled a security guard who grabbed him and moved him out of the way. So let's watch this. Let's see this.
Mayor Pete, will you pardon Julian Assange? Will you pardon Julian Assange? Pete, will you pardon Julian Assange? Pete, will you pardon Julian Assange? You're not allowed to grab me. I'm not just a film. Why are you grabbing me? You're going to I would like to speak to your supervisor right now. Please. Please, let me go. I would like his supervisor right now. What's your name, sir? Calm down. No, he was grabbing me and throwing me out of the way.
You're going to an exit that you're not.
I was going this way. I have a trespass.
It doesn't matter. You can't
You're
go
not allowed
this
to grab me
way.
and touch me. No, I want his name. I want to speak to him.
By the way, that's the worst thing you can do when a situation is heated is tell the person to relax. Just a rule of thumb. When someone's heated and look, he was being forced away by someone with the Boot Off Stage campaign. All he was doing was asking a question. You heard it. You just heard him. He's just asking a question. It's clear just looking at his camera phone, he wasn't moving towards the exit. He was being, here, we can look. All right, so we'll watch Boot Off Stage, slither by again.
Will you pardon Julian Assange? Will you pardon Julian Assange?
All right, that's... So he's standing right there. He's being pushed away from the door. So that guy grabbed him. He was just moving along the line like everybody else. There were other people standing in the same place. He was just gravitating to ask the question. He wasn't going towards the doorway. He was just moving along with the line. That's something you see press do all the time. That's something press does. You see that all the time. They follow along the press line And then the candidate gets to the door they're going to. It's not like he jumped towards the doorway. He didn't do any of that. And he was shoved, or he was forced out of the way. All right, so check this out.
I got this on film. Why are you grabbing? Because you're going to. I would like to speak to your supervisor right now, please.
He wasn't. That's a line. And that's why the guy turned away right away, and he's flustered because he knows he did something he wasn't supposed to do, and it got caught on camera. That guy knows he was in the wrong, and it got caught on camera. All right, so.
Please, let me go. I would like his supervisor right now. What's your name, sir? Calm down. No, he was grabbing me and throwing me out of the way.
You're going to an exit that you're not.
I was going this way. I have a
He's doubling down on his lie.
You're not allowed to grab me and touch me.
Bald guy, totally wrong move. You don't tell someone he has a concern, he has a gripe, and it's a fair gripe, by the way, because this is total. I mean, look, you just watch the phone. Everything Pasta's saying here is 100% true. Everything he said so far, 100% true. He was moving along with the press line like you're supposed to do. This guy shoved him out of the way, just shoved him out of the way for no reason. He had no right to touch him. He had no right. If he was really trying to maintain the doorway, what he would have done is he would have just stood. All right, so the press line is moving like this. The doorway is here. That gentleman just would have stood, just keeping anyone from crossing that barricade into the doorway. Now, if that's what that gentleman was doing, Pasta would have moved up against that guy and pushed him towards the door, then that guy would have been in the right to get him out of the way. That's not what happened. Again, you watch the direction of the phone camera. That's not what happened. Pasta was moving with the press line. He was not obstructing. Had he gone towards the door, again, I mean, I don't need to explain it again. You guys can see it. We just watched it twice. All right, so let's keep watching this.
No, I want his name. I want to speak to his supervisor. You just
Stop telling him to relax. God, this guy is... Take a basic psychology 101 class, would you? You don't tell someone in a situation like that to relax, especially when there are two parties involved in the conflict. This guy needs a basic psychology class desperately. Anyway.
Why did you grab me?
Because I was protecting somebody.
No, you were
No.
not. You were grabbing me out of the way because I have a Tulsi shirt on.
It has nothing to do with
Oh, shit, you just grabbed me to throw me out of the way.
We always need a tone police. We always need a tone police. That's what's really important here. It doesn't matter that this guy just shoved somebody with a press pass out of the way for no reason whatsoever. For no reason whatsoever. And yeah, I'm sure the fact that, now was it specifically because of a Tulsi Gabbard t-shirt? Possibly, absolutely. Would the same thing have happened to someone in a Bernie t-shirt or even a Warren t-shirt or a Yang t-shirt? I have a feeling it probably would have, yeah. But a Tulsi t-shirt in particular, well, that's probably the most opposed to Pete Buttigieg, at least as far as what they're thinking, right? Tulsi and Pete, they went at it one of the debates. Boot off stage people, they know that. So a Tulsi shirt, yeah, you really want them out of the way. I think the same thing would have happened to someone in a Bernie shirt or even a Warren or a Yang shirt. Probably. But anyway, so, opposing person's shirt on, that probably fueled their wanting to get this person out of the way. All right, so let's keep watching. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. That's the big thing. Man, this bald guy, that guy in the with the bald head in the dark shirt or the dark jacket, the black jacket, that guy, like, wow, has he ever handled a conflict in his life? He's done like the two worst things. First of all, telling someone to relax, worst thing you can do. That's like the worst thing you can do. And then tone policing them. Anyway, yeah, this guy never handled a conflict. Not this guy. That guy's just nearby watching it. This guy with the black jacket, bald head, this guy watching it. This never handled a conflict in his life, apparently. Or if he has, he's really freaking bad at it. Anyway, let's keep watching.
Would you like me to just put it out on the internet? What is your name? What is your name, sir? What is your name, sir? You don't have to give me your name. Okay, so we're just in the event set, just grab me and throw me out of the way.
Like you said, he was
I was over here. He just grabbed me to throw me out of the way because he didn't want me asking a question. He grabbed me. He can't grab me. He's not allowed to touch me.
He was protecting the door.
He was grabbing me. I was right over here. I wasn't near the door. I was this way, right here. Would you like me to show you the footage? He grabbed me. I was right here. Not blocking the door. You don't grab people.
He's still doing. He's triple downing, dude. Read a. Anyway, all right.
Staff does right there. Somebody's wearing a Tulsi shirt. They grab him to throw him out of the way. That's exactly what the case is. He came and followed me. This guy. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, again, man, that's like the second time I've ever seen Pasta get angry ever. He doesn't get mad often. He does not get mad often. And his description of events is 100% accurate. You can tell by the way the camera, because if it would have went towards that dude. If that dude was standing where he should have, like blocking the actual doorway, which that's typically what they do, because that's what they're supposed to do. That's understandable. You don't know if some crazy person is going to jump and try to, like tackle a candidate or whatever. But this guy instead was following Pasta and then moved him out of the way where he was just moving with the line. Again, the doorway's over here going that way. He's standing in a different place, moving along with it, just asking a question. You see how that works? He didn't go like this. He went like this. Like this is boot off stage. This hand is boot off stage. Here, let me get... So boot off stage going like this. Pasta moving with it going like this. Pasta didn't go like this. He went like this. He didn't go like this. Ron, you're doing geometry now. Calm the fuck down. We get it. So you guys get it. So there you go. Boot off stage. They're not a big fan of press freedom. That's what they have people do. That's what they want people to do. Really interesting boot off stage. Really interesting. And here is somebody who really won Twitter. This person completely won Twitter. I retweeted this. Check out this meme. This is brilliant. Look at this. There's no audio to it. Russian aimbot. At aimbot Russian on Twitter. Look at this. Are you serious? We'll watch it again. So, Cheston, are they booing me? No, sir. They're saying boo to judge. Boo to judge. Are you saying boo or boo to judge? Boo. Oh, that's so funny. That is so good. That is so good. I love that. That's, man, that person won. That person won the internet. So, man, Pete Buttigieg, not a big fan of a free press. Doesn't really like that. In fact, if you look like someone who might ask him a question he might not like, and if you're clearly in opposition, he wants you out of the way. He wants you out of the way big time. He wants you out of the way. And his people go as far as to take press passes off people's bodies. They'll snatch a press pass from someone and then make up a story to justify it. That's the boot off stage campaign. So Pete Buttigieg really hates press freedom. Wants to require people to do a year of service. Isn't for giving everyone health care. Isn't for free college. Likes the idea of sending troops down to Mexico. Wants to continue our endless wars. Thinks that the status quo is okay. That's why he's getting booed off stage. And for some reason, he's not running in the Republican primary. This is considered a Democrat. This is considered an alternative to a fascist party. Pete Buttigieg, the guy who is, I would go as far to say he is opposed to press freedom. He is actively opposed to press freedom. By the way, what happened when a Black Lives Matter protest was outside of a boot off stage campaign event? They called the cops. This campaign hates press freedom. They hate journalists. They want more militarization. That's what they want. And he's considered an alternative to the fascist party. This is what happens when you have a right-wing party and a straight-up fascist party, which is what we have. We have the right-wing party in the Democrats. We have a fascist party in the Republicans. He belongs in the Republicans. You can't even call him right-wing. He's a straight-up fascist. Pete Buttigieg is a fascist. And remember that if you're going to go vote for him. If you're going to go vote for boot off stage, you're voting for a fascist. You are voting for a fascist. And you're voting for Trump pretty much. Because that guy Trump would go nuts on this guy. And he'd lose. Boot off stage would lose. Boot off stage would lose to Trump. So whatever high hopes you have, you can go ahead and get rid of those high hopes. All right. And on a personal note, remind me never to make Pasta mad. I don't think I ever have before. We've disagreed. We've disagreed even on camera before. We don't agree on every single issue. But you know, he's a passionate guy. He's a good guy, and you know, he's good at what he does. They've built a wonderful thing over there at the Convo Couch, and you know, on most things we are aligned. We have some disagreements here and there, like most people, you know. But yeah, remind me to never tick that dude off. I bust his chops a lot. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. Man, remind me not to tick that guy off ever. That was I mean, it kind of said, like, you see what I mean, though? It's like he was figuring out how to get mad as that was going on. Like he was like, I'm mad. I better say a curse word. I don't get mad often. I'm figuring it out as I go. And then it probably helped him get mad that, again, that dude, and I'm sorry I keep saying the bald dude. I just don't know, like, how's the bald dude in the black jacket? Like, I don't know what else to say about that guy. Like he was in a black jacket and you know, whatever. I just don't know, like that guy never handled a conflict. The fact that guy did everything wrong in handling, don't tell someone to like, that's the worst thing you can do. And there's this book I read recently by a guy, a psychologist named Christian Conti. It was actually a really good book. It was called like Walking Through Anger. And he talks about why, and the analogy he made was so brilliant. And I forget what it was off the top of my head, but he's like telling somebody that like telling somebody to relax when they're angry. It's like telling someone, I forget the analogy he made, but it's like telling someone who's grieving at a funeral to be like, stop being sad. Like, that's what it's the equivalent of. Like, no, they're angry and something channeled their anger. There is a conflict. There are two sides to the conflict between this person and the other person. And the other person was in the wrong. I mean, again, that video evidence is very clear. Pasta did nothing wrong in this scenario. That guy did everything wrong in this scenario. And so did the guy in the black jacket. Anyway, yeah, that's a different topic for it. But if anyone, calm down. Watch your language. Learn how to de-escalate a situation if you're going to have that job. That guy should be fired on the spot. Because I'd imagine he's security of some form. He's totally unqualified to do that. Totally unqualified for his job, that guy. Beyond unqualified. Anyway, all right. So, boot off stage. Bam. All right. So, speaking of things that were pretty fascist, Mike Bloomberg really does not want this clip being seen by everybody. But it's being seen by everybody anyway. And here's something that was spreading around about good old Mike Bloomberg. So let's listen to this. Here, hold up. Let me start it from the beginning, and then I'll show you the screen here. All right. So check this out. This has been going around the blogosphere today.
95% of your murderers and murder victims fit one MO. You can just take the description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops.
Now, this has been circulating everywhere, and people have actually been defending this by trying to really sugarcoat and reinterpret what he's actually saying. So we're just going to go through it, and we're going to highlight this is what this man is saying. All right, so let's go. We'll start at the beginning, actually. Here we go.
95% of your murderers and murder victims fit one MO. You can just take the description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops. They are male, minorities, 15 to 25. That's true in New York. It's true in virtually every city. And that's where the real crime is. You've got to get the guns out of the hands of the people that get killed. So you want to spend the money, put a lot of cops in the street, put those cops where the crime is, which means in the minority neighborhoods. So this is one of the unintended consequences is people say, oh my God, you are arresting kids for marijuana, they're all minorities. Yes, that's true. Why? Because we put all the cops in the minority neighborhoods. Yes, that's true. Why do we do it? Because that's where all the crime is. And the way you get the guns out of the kids' hands is to throw them against the wall and frisk them. And then they say, oh, I don't want that, I don't want to get caught, so they don't bring the gun. They still have a gun, but they leave it at home.
So, and again, people are doing the mental gymnastics to try to defend this. But what did he really just say? First of all, he says that, criminals, they fit one description. He's basically saying that, the criminals are black people. That's exactly what he's saying. So what that implies is that what he wants police to do is that white people, they're citizens. White people are citizens. If I'm walking down the street, I am a citizen. I have rights. If a black person is walking down the street, this is what Bloomberg says is the right way to police. If a black person is walking down the street, they are guilty until proven innocent. They are guilty until proven innocent because of the color of their skin. That's exactly what he's saying. That is exactly what he's saying. He's saying it in a slightly more roundabout way to make it sound a little less brutal. But that's exactly what he's saying. And for those of you out there putting a bow on that, why? Why are you doing that? And then he's also saying, a way to help to fight crime is that you then stop and frisk these people. You stop and frisk black people and people of color and minorities. Because again, they're guilty until proven innocent, according to Mike Bloomberg. And the way to solve this problem is to brutalize them. Now, it's amazing some of the mental gymnastics I've seen so far on Twitter of people trying to defend this. Just saying, well, no, he's just saying that neighborhoods that don't have any hope, there's more crime in those neighborhoods because there's no hope there. Okay, so first of all, that's a very, very sanitized, cherry-picked interpretation of what he actually just said in that clip. I mean, saying that that's all he was saying in that clip, that's like saying all Hitler said was that, like, the Jewish neighborhoods don't have his favorite restaurants. That's all he was saying. Come on. But even just going on that, okay, so we'll concede to your grossly sanitized interpretation of what Mike Bloomberg said in that minute. We'll concede to your grossly sanitized interpretation, even going by your grossly sanitized interpretation. So you're saying he's, these minority neighborhoods that don't have a lot of jobs, that don't have a lot of opportunity. There's more crime in them because people are desperate. That's what he's saying. And he's saying the solution for that is to have an over-militarized police force that treats all the people in this neighborhood, unless their skin is white. If their skin's white, that's different. But if their skin's not white, they're all guilty until proven innocent, and rough them up and frisk them for no reason other than the color of their skin. That's going to give people hope? That's going to revitalize a neighborhood? On what planet? On what planet? Go to a poor minority neighborhood in this country and ask people, hey, what would kind of give you hope? What would kind of bring up your spirits? And tell me, if anyone says to you, I really wish there were more cops here, preferably with guns, which, they're going to have guns, and that's good. I want that. I want more cops with guns who are going to stop me when I'm walking around minding my own business and check me for weapons. That would really bring hope up. That would really, if that happened to me on my way walking home, I would think, man, I'm gonna be able to send my kids to college. I'm working 3 jobs just to get by, but I'm doing so with a smile on my face. That's Mike Bloomberg's solution for underserved neighborhoods. Let's send the police there to brutalize them. That's all right. All right. And if that clip wasn't enough for you, here's something else. Let's check this one out.
it's a disproportionate percentage of a particular. They just keep saying, oh, it's a disproportionate percentage of a particular ethnic group. That may be, but it's not a disproportionate percentage of those who witnesses and victims describe as committing the murder. In that case, incidentally, I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little. They just keep saying, oh, it's a disproportionate percentage of a particular ethnic group. That may be, but it's not a disproportionate percentage of those who witnesses and victims describe as committing the murder. In that case, incidentally, I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little.
Mike Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg. Black people commit the crimes, according to Mike Bloomberg. And they're guilty and until proven innocent. And they should be stop and frisked. And white people really shouldn't. That's what Mike Bloomberg's saying. I mean, this is segregationist level. I mean, he's saying that people are less citizens than others. That's literally what he's saying. He's saying that black people should have less rights than white people. That is truly what Mike Bloomberg is saying. He's saying that, yeah, they should be stop and frisked because of the color of their skin. That should happen. That's what Mike Bloomberg's saying. Meanwhile, a white person, they have the rights of the citizen. They have the rights of a citizen. They can walk down the street. A black person, because of the color of their skin, they shouldn't have those same rights. That is what Mike Bloomberg is saying. And it amazes me, the mental gymnastics. And I'm sure in the comment section of this video later, there's going to be people doing the mental gymnastics to try to justify what he's saying. And then they're gonna cherry pick and reinterpret what he just said in one or both of those clips. But that's exactly what he said. I mean, this is what he's calling for, and that's what stop and frisk did. It brutalized minorities. That's what it did. That's why he started his campaign with an apology. He apologized for stop and frisk. Oh, and by the way, you know, we would have talked about this more on Music Monday, but we didn't have a show this past Monday because I was traveling. But check it out. Here's Bloomberg does have his supporters, and here's one of them. Good old John Mellencamp. John Mellencamp. So John Mellencamp, his song, the "I Was Born in a Small Town," that song's been used in a Bloomberg ad. And here's what John Mellencamp tweets out: "The stakes are too high to nominate someone who can't beat Trump. People are ready for a change, and Mike Bloomberg is the right guy to do the job. He's done it before, and he'll do it again as president. Mike will." So here's what I responded: "The stakes are too high to nominate someone who can't beat Trump, so I'm getting behind whoever pays to use my insipid music." And by the way, check this out: 222 likes, 120 likes. I'm still a little bit behind him. But guys, I might be able to ratio John Mellencamp on this one. If you're on the Twitter and you don't mind giving me a little bit of love, I'm catching up to him. If you don't mind giving me a little bit of love, just saying. So John Mellencamp, big. Now look, I've never been a John Mellencamp fan. Now some of you guys, you're probably thinking, Ron, you're always way harder on musicians where you don't like their music and their politics are also horrible. Yeah, totally. Wouldn't you have that bias too? I can't stand U2's music. Bono's a neoliberal shill. And I like mentioning that because I can't stand their frickin' music. Mellencamp, same situation. I think that Mellencamp's biggest hits are at best Springsteen B-sides. Now, that's my opinion. It's a subjective opinion. I think John Mellencamp's song, they're all insipid. I remember one time I was mistaking a Tom Petty song for a I forget which one, but it was a Tom Petty. I found out later it was a Tom Petty song. And I was like, the only John Mellencamp song I kind of like is this song. And I found out later it was a Tom Petty tune. So like the joke I would do, like my favorite John Mellencamp song is a Tom Petty song. And if you like Mellencamp's music and you're like, wow, that's really disappointing, email me. And if you like Indiana Heartland rock and roll, I can give you a bunch of names that put Mellencamp to shame. First of all, check out Magnolia Electric Company and everything by Jason Molina. That includes Songs of Ohio. Check that out. You want Indiana bred Heartland rock and roll, check that stuff out. Check out Tim Carroll, guy named Tim Carroll. 2 R's, 2 L's. Really good Indiana Heartland rock and roll. Better than John Mellencamp, which, by the way, I went to Indiana University. That's in Bloomington, Indiana. That's the town where John Mellencamp lives. That's a small town he's singing about. Which, by the way, first of all, I find it a little annoying that song is by Bloomington. Is about, because here's the thing. Bloomington is like one of the more renowned college towns in the country. Bloomington, Indiana is a lot like Olympia, Washington, or Madison, Wisconsin, or Gainesville. You get the idea. It's not some really cookie cutter American pink houses. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not dissing on that at all. I'm just saying that's not what Bloomington is. Bloomington, some of the best Tibetan food in the country can be found in Bloomington, Indiana, because, Indiana University was one of the first places to bring in some of the Tibetan monks. And a lot of them liked Bloomington, so they all came there to do their work. So my point is it's a very fascinating place. It's not just your typical, here's the pharmacy, here's the gas station, here's your mom and pop restaurant, and here's a bunch of little pink houses for you and me. So it's, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not dissing any place. I'm just saying, yeah, that's sort of a weird, yeah. So anyway, but Mellencamp loves his Bloomberg. John Mellencamp. And by the way, just for the record too, and I tweeted this out, again, I lived in the town that John Mellencamp lives in. I went to college there. I was there for 4 years. I did not meet one person that had an interaction with John Mellencamp that had a positive thing to say about it. Everyone would say he was arrogant. He was rude. He was just disrespectful to people. And I'm sure there's people who had positive experiences with him. I can't speak for everyone. I'm just saying in my 4 years, there'd be handfuls of people that had an interaction with him wherever. Nobody had a positive thing to say. Not one person. Nobody, in my experience, had a positive thing to say about the guy. No one. So there you go. And I know in interviews he kind of comes off as arrogant, and I can see it. I never met the guy. But a buddy of mine has a really funny story. A buddy of mine was working parking security for, it was just like his student job. He was working parking security for a Indiana University football game. And somebody drove up and parked their truck blatantly illegally. And who got out of the truck? John Mellencamp. And my buddy, and by the way, my buddy was a big punk rocker like me, so he didn't give a hoot about John Mellencamp, nor should he. But he goes, "Sir, you have to move your truck." And the guy goes, "Oh, come on, man." And my buddy goes, "That's an illegal parking space, sir. You need to move that truck." And he's like, "I'm going to miss the game." And he's like, "Well, you need to move your truck." And the guy goes, "Do you know who I am?" And my friend goes, "Yeah, I don't care. You need to move your truck." And Mellencamp cursed and sputted off, or, well, I don't know if he cursed, but he, kind of pouted off and moved his truck. So good for my buddy. And Mellencamp, wow. It's a dire time. It's a dire time. So we need to beat Trump. So I'll support whoever pays me to use my insipid, dumb music. Good job, John Mellencamp. You really care. You really care. This is such an important time. I'll support whoever cuts me a check. All right. So this is shared by Wesley. Switching gears for a little bit here. Wesley shares this. This happened over on the Democracy Now! Today. Trump's new budget funds endless war and nuclear weapons while slashing aid to poor and hungry Americans. So President Trump unveiled his 2021 budget request yesterday, proposing massive cuts to Medicaid and food stamps while increasing spending on the military and his border wall. The $4.8 trillion budget would slash the EPA spending by more than a quarter while allocating $18 billion for Trump's newly established Space Force. We have places in this country that don't have clean water, in particular Flint, Michigan, but there's a bunch of other places as well. First world country, richest country in the world, people don't have access to clean water. We want to slash the EPA's budget and give money to go to outer space, to live Trump's astronaut fantasy. Trump is also requesting billions more for nuclear weapons, including a new submarine-launched nuclear warhead. Experts and Democratic lawmakers warn that increasing the nuclear stockpile will increase the likelihood of nuclear war and defy international agreements. Democrats are expected to reject the budget. Here's hoping. So I wonder what would give Trump the idea to have a budget this bold. Maybe it's because Democrats have constantly given him billions more in a war budget than he's even asked for. And while this whole impeachment circus was going on, they let him cut food stamps for over 750,000 people. Maybe that's why he puts this bold agenda out there, because he knows that Democrats will compromise. So even if he doesn't get every single thing he wants, he's going to get most of it, if not all of it. Because Republicans, they actually know what they're doing when it comes to playing politics. They'll ask for the sky so they get close to it. Where Democrats, they start at the point of, we're going to sacrifice. Democrats, when they're in the position of power, they'll say, okay, we're going to compromise. We want Mitt Romney's healthcare plan with a public option. And then Republicans say, screw your public option. And Democrats say, okay, we'll compromise. We'll just take Mitt Romney's healthcare plan. And it's set up that way. It's intentional. So Trump will probably get most, if not all, of what he wants. We'll see. We'll see. But man, isn't that amazing? People don't have clean water. Let's cut the EPA. And let's give billions more to pursue our military empire around the world. Because that's what we are. We're an economy of war built around military expansion. To exploit resources and exploit natural gas. All right. So we'll see what happens there. Guys, tour dates, I got them. First of all, thank you guys so much for an amazing start to the 2020 tour. We're going to be in San Francisco next. That's February 29th, San Francisco, California, myself and Graham Elwood. Florida, we're coming to you in March. March 12th, Orlando. March 13th, Tampa. March 14th, Miami. April 9th, I'll be at Concord University. April 10th, I'll be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. April 24th, Seattle. April 25th, Portland. May 14th, Indianapolis. May 15th, Detroit. May 16th, Cleveland, Ohio, baby. We got dates announced throughout 2020. Louisville, Nashville, Atlanta, hold tight. Tickets are coming soon. Chicago, Milwaukee, Richmond, Virginia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., New York City, Boston, Mass., Portland, Maine, Burlington, Vermont, Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Get your tickets now at ronplacone.com. If you want to see us come to your city, drop me an email. We'll see what we can do. Guys, thank you so much. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/ronplacone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content. You get a patrons only stream once a week where I respond directly to the patrons. You get dialogue between myself and my cat Lucy. You get exclusive video clips. You get my album to download in its entirety. And that's for a give what you can level. Even $1 a month goes a long way. And what you do as far as the show is concerned, you help me expand. You help me do my Sounds of Revolution interview series where I'm going to interview musicians about 2020. You help me do more streams, and you help me make mini documentaries around city-owned internet. We've been working on laying the groundwork for that. I want to do mini documentaries on YouTube around city-owned internet, which is what preserves a free and open internet for the foreseeable future for us. We live in a post-net neutrality world. This platform could be taken from us. This medium of the internet could be taken from us. It is a reality. I want to do everything I can to stop that from happening. And that means we need to build city-owned internet all across the country. Patreon.com/Ron Placone if you are so able. Dudas Priest, what's up, Dudas Priest? Is there honestly any difference between a Republican and a Democrat these days? Stop and frisk Bloomberg and boot off stage ain't these. I'm with you, Dudas Priest. Kate, did you see video of Status Quo cameraman, the only black guy there, getting his press pass ripped off by staff and told to leave at the Pete rally? We talked about that earlier in the stream. So yes, Kate, we did go through that. We didn't watch the specific video. We went through the article and we went through some of the tweets, but yeah, we did cover that on today's show. Thank you for that, Kate. Dudas Priest, Kate, thank you very much for the super chat contributions. Wesley, thank you very much for contributing some of the articles for today. Guys, we will be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. You know the drill. That's how we do things here. We'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern time, 11 a.m. Pacific time. In the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.